Hi, I'm Kylie Ann, and I'm going to talk about elementary teacher characteristics. So we've all had good and bad experiences with elementary teachers. For example, when I was in the second grade, I had a teacher who really loved her job. She was kind of new, but she really liked working with us. She encouraged a lot of group activity. She liked working with us. She liked doing things as a group. And then when I went to third grade, my teacher was ready to retire. She was a lot older. She liked a lot of silent reading. She didn't like partner work. She didn't encourage us to talk to our peers. So a lot of us preferred our second grade teacher over our third grade teacher. So when elementary teachers have high job satisfaction, maintain good relationships with their colleagues, and have high lifelong learning competencies, they can positively affect their students' learning. And elementary students are more successful when their teachers have high job satisfaction and they have good relationships with their colleagues. In a study done by Brown University professor of education and economics Matthew Kraft called Teacher and Teaching Effects on Students' Attitudes and Behaviors, he discovered that upper elementary teachers often have the greatest influence on students' self-efficiency in math, happiness, and behavior. So upper elementary teachers are like third, fourth, and fifth grade, and that's kind of the most influential period of elementary school just because they're either moving on to middle school or they're looking forward to being in the fifth grade and being the bigger kids at school. They start to learn more autonomy, which means they start to experience things on their own a lot more. And that's really when like individual work begins to be initiated and the subject material gets a lot harder. So it's really important for teachers at around that level to be really passionate and to like help their students learn and encourage them that this is what they want to be doing. So when teachers with higher job satisfaction are teaching, their students are more likely to be encouraged to learn and succeed. Jennifer Quirrell Bryan, professor of counseling and educational psychology at the University of Nevada, conducted a study called Elementary Teachers' Job Satisfiers and Dissatisfiers. And what she found was that she interviewed 103 teachers from 10 different schools in the United States. And she found that when teachers are satisfied with their jobs, it can directly influence student performance. So like I said, with my third grade teacher, she was ready to retire. She was done teaching. She wanted to get out. So she wasn't really, she didn't feel motivated to try and teach us anything, and we could all feel that. So none of us were really motivated to learn anything. And if you look at the first slide of my PowerPoint, you can see that there's a lot of different reasons that teachers are unsatisfied with their job that can lead to them quitting or retiring early or just looking for other career paths in general. But 21% of that is because they're dissatisfied with administration, which is like the principal, the deans, the superintendent, whoever's above them, not giving them enough power or they can't control their classroom the way they want to. And so that leads to a lot of people wanting to leave or choose a different career path. And then 17% didn't like the support around them. So they didn't feel supported by their colleagues, the administration. They didn't have the support system they needed to effectively run their classroom, which brings me to my next point. So teachers are more likely to be successful with their students when they maintain good relationships with their colleagues. In a study done by professor of education at Stanford University, Linda Darling Hammond, she focused on what was considered a good teacher and how they can help students learn. And what she found is that in urban, suburban, and rural areas, it was found that teachers at any level will go to a school that will show them appreciation and create relationships with their colleagues that will help their students succeed. So what she said the good teachers were considered are the ones that are willing to reach out and help those that are struggling, especially teachers that are starting out, because they need the support system to help them realize that it might not be their fault their students aren't learning, they just have to try harder. And it helps you to realize what curriculum you need to focus on, what you don't need to focus on. And if you don't have that support system around you, you just feel kind of stuck and trapped and like you don't know what to do. So what she found was that it didn't really matter what area you were in, as long as you had a good support system, that is where the teachers were going. So my next point is that teachers with high lifelong learning competencies are also more likely to help their students succeed. So professors in early childhood education Ibrahim Akar and Sukran Yukis analyzed 203 elementary teachers, and they ran a study called The Characteristics of Elementary School Teachers' Lifelong Learning Competencies. So they said lifelong learning competencies are self-management, learning how to learn, initiative and entrepreneurship, information acquisition, decision-making, and digital competencies. So all of these are characteristics that they said helps teachers help their students in the classroom. And so what they did was they put the 203 teachers into different groups, and they used cluster analysis to find the results. So the teachers were all grouped into a high, medium, or low category. So the high teachers had the highest amount of lifelong learning competencies, medium, they had some but not all, and then low had 0 to none of the competencies that I mentioned before. And so what they found was that the teachers with the higher lifelong learning competencies greater influenced their students, and they encouraged them to learn and be more of an effective teacher and role model to their students. So when teachers have high lifelong learning competencies, they can give those same qualities that they have to their students so they're able to go on and succeed in the next grade and the future and wherever they go, because they're more likely to carry those characteristics with them throughout their lives. And so my final point is that many successful elementary and secondary teachers have similar characteristics. So they're passionate about their job, they like what they're doing, they want to help the kids learn, they're not in it for them, they're in it to help other people succeed. And so teachers who are better educated and who have more experience are typically noted as the better teachers. In a study done by Sohaila Tay and Rebecca Goldring in the 2015-2016 National Teacher and Principal Survey, they listed characteristics of both elementary and secondary school teachers. So in the 2015 to 2016 school year, there were about 3,827,100 teachers in public elementary and secondary schools. And so they showed that about 77% of those teachers were females, and that most of them had the same degree, so they had the same education. There were a variety of class sizes, but overall almost all the teachers felt like they had control over their teaching strategies and disciplinary strategies in their classroom. So that gave them the control they needed to help their students learn the best in what they thought would be the best. And so if you look at the second slide of my PowerPoint, you can see the average experience that teachers had, and that just kind of helps them. It gives them the opportunity to help new coming teachers figure out what to do, take the right steps, and help their students as best as they can. And then the third slide shows some of the qualities that people noted were the best teaching qualities and what they thought would help students succeed the most.